Okay. Now, with the video title, you're going to wonder if this video is a chicken or egg type thing. I mean, after all, moderators would not have the ability to be omnipresent without flag-hags, and without moderators, flag-hags would be totally powerless. So, this all becomes about how evil requires consent. The people have to consent to evil in order for it to manifest itself, because without our approval, it wouldn't have anywhere to go. But that's not what this really is about. I'm sure people will argue whether or not the flag-hags or the moderators themselves are worse, as do people argue whether or not the proletarian are responsible for their own plight by not rising up, versus the bourgeois for exploiting us to begin with. I'm not here to argue semantics with you. What I'm here to tell you about is the moral decision of my enemy's enemy is my friend. Now, what I mean by this is, apparently, I was invited to a secret Facebook group that is all about flagging fascists. Now, I have a very different definition of fascists than apparently these guys do. These guys just go after white nationalists, racists in general, pro-Nazi, pro-Mussolini type guys. And I guess that is fascism in a classical sense, but it's not very practical to real life in the modern world. So I don't go around, bashing fascism when it's an archaic philosophy, and it's not going to come back, at least not as it was back then. And these guys are going around, flagging these people because, well, they're anti-fascist, which I would just call them radical liberals. That's really all they are. And, I don't have a problem with either side. I don't have a problem with the radical liberals. I don't have a problem with the classical fascists. I disagree with them. I disagree with them vehemently. But they are not my problem. My problem is moderators. I've always made that perfectly clear. Now, the issue becomes, they trust me, why I don't know, but they trust me to help them to eliminate this fascist element within Facebook. And they want me to help participate in flagging them down. Now, the moral issue becomes, is it right to use force when you are against force? In other words, moderators shoot you constantly, daily basis. Do you have the right to shoot them back? Of course you do. Do you have the right to shoot first? Some people may disagree with that, but I would say yes, you do have the right to shoot first, because you know what they plan to do to you. I have shot first many times before. Now, the issue becomes, are we really going after moderators? Because that's the only thing I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about whether or not these people are racist. I'm not concerned about whether or not these people are offensive. I'm not even concerned about if they hurt other people. I'm concerned about whether or not they are what constitutes as a moderator, and then from there, using one enemy to get rid of another. They are relying upon Facebook moderators to get rid of these lesser moderators. That's really what it comes down to. They're dependent upon Facebook's blatant abuse of power, its complete disregard for people's freedom of speech and integrity, its just slandering nature of just labeling anything it doesn't like as bad, as against the terms of service, etc., and suppressing the people in general. Now, they're willing to rely upon this grotesque and very powerful evil. Facebook is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and to put their faith in them does not make them socialist or communist. It just makes them liberal. They want to get rid of racism, they want to get rid of bigotry, all well and good, but they are relying upon the bourgeois institutions that tend to accumulate more racism and bigotry than any of these underlings could. So, the issue becomes, is it right to use one evil to get rid of another? At that, the bigger evil. Because Facebook is clearly the greater evil than any of the little plebs that make their stupid little racist groups. Like the one they're going after right now has maybe 125 likes. That's nothing. They're completely fucking harmless. And I have even told them about what they plan to do and how, in my mind, he is harmless. Now, mind you, I don't know how other people are gonna feel about this. I don't really care. I am just narrating to you to give you my interpretation. That's what I do here. But somehow that gets compromised by YouTube moderators, another billion-dollar evil industry. But the issue in my mind is none of these guys are going to go after Facebook. The fascists are not going to go after Facebook. The liberals are not going to go after Facebook. Nobody is going after Facebook. So then the issue becomes, what moderators will they go after? What moderators are they willing to suck it up and go after and shoot first or shoot last or whatever? Just shoot the moderators. That's the only thing that's on my mind, is whether or not at some point we are eliminating a moderator, regardless of the level, because I'd rather have some moderators be shot than none at all. This isn't about, keeping my dignity. I'm not here to be proud. I'm not here to, look like a shining beacon of morality. I don't need you to look up to me. I need the moderators gone. That's what I plan to do. That is my life purpose. So, I'm willing to do things that are both underhanded and maybe even hypocritical in order to get that done. And that's why I say renegades for life. Because I don't have any qualms. I don't have any, I don't even know the word, basically regrets. I don't have any shame for what I do. The only thing is, I'm rational enough to know whether something is going to end up worse in the long run. Like, for example, if we let Facebook continue to abuse its power, that might be worse in the long run because it gives them leverage. Gives them leverage in saying, oh, moderators only eliminate racists and bad people, which is completely untrue. We know that's untrue. But by letting them do this, it vicariously puts it in people's minds that moderators are somehow good. That's obviously not what I want. But on the other hand, what are we going to do? Sit on our thumbs and just, twiddle our fingers and bullshit and just let the moderators get away with murder? Of course not. So, that's all it is prioritizing. What my problem is I can't believe I'm the only fucking person who can prioritize. I'm not saying I'm always right, but I know how to prioritize my problems, other people's problems, the problems within the environment in general, and then from there try to make a rational decision from point A to point B of what the next step should be. That's it. I don't try to be, the highest moral integrity. I don't try to be heroic. I don't try to be famous. Obviously, if I cared about fame, I wouldn't be doing these kinds of videos. I'd be talking about stupid shit like Ray William Johnson or Onision. But, obviously I have a moral imperative in mind. And, sometimes it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel of whether or not what I'm doing will accomplish anything I've sought out to do. But ultimately, that's what it's about. And I don't care about the means to the ends to get there. So, really, I guess what I ask to my viewers is, do you agree with this? Do you think means justifies the ends, so long as you know what the means are and what the ends will probably be? In other words, are you willing to be immoral for a moral end if you have solid evidence that it will be a moral end? Because just to say that, the means justify the ends haphazardly is stupid, brutal, and counterproductive. But if you can assess the way people are versus the way you want them to be, and then from there make some kind of judgment, is it wrong then? Because that's really what it comes down to. You have to be rational about shit. And not enough people in the world are rational, let alone moral. So, it takes a combination of both, because we don't have a whole lot in the world of it right now. And, I'm sure if Mark Anthony was here, he'd be talking out of his asshole. I'm kind of glad he's not. I don't know what happened to him. Hopefully he died. But I'm just saying, you know, it's a very grueling battle because, you know, I would rather just get rid of Facebook. I don't fucking care about these little twats who might ban people on their group but have no leverage. I mean, it's bad what they do. They shouldn't do it. They should be punished for doing it. But I'm not going to sit here and worry about, you know, guys that mug old ladies versus, you know, criminal tycoons. That's really what it comes down to. Why are we going after always the small timers? And it's not just in moderators, it's in everything. And in the way the criminal justice system works. We worry more about the small timers than the bigwig criminals. The bigwig criminals are the ones in charge and the ones enforcing the laws that affect the small timers. It's completely irrational and lacks the judgment to prioritize your problems. If you're going to say this thing is evil, go after the people that are actually doing the most evil, not the ones that are doing the least bit, and it's just far more easier to go after them. However, given my abilities right now, given what I have access to right now, given what we all have access to right now, maybe our only choice thus far is to go after the small timers, and then from there we can worry about the big timers as we accumulate more power and leverage to be able to do it. So in reality, it's all about what you think the future is going to be like. Do you think the future is going to be like now, where you're going to be in the same position, and thus it's counterproductive to just go after small timers because, you know, eventually the big timers will just be all the bigger? Or do you think that, you know, by going after the small timers, it gives you the practice and the accumulation of people and sovereignty and collectivization, that unionization of people that you need to actually go after the big timers? The way I'm looking at it is I'm just kind of waiting around until an opportunity arises to go after a big time moderator. And as of right now, I'm just kind of, you know, playing along, smiling, keeping good face with everybody, respecting them even though sometimes what they do sickens me, until I can make my move, and then I can shoot first. I guess that's it.